Hello and welcome to another episode of the Mindful Conversation series in my podcast, the Anuj Kapoor Talk Show. Today I have with me Ankita Mangtani, who is an instructional designer and an author of a book called Instructional Design Unleashed. Ankita is passionate and accomplished instructional designer with over 5 years of experience in creating impactful learning solutions across multiple industries, including healthcare, cybersecurity, programming, and petrochemicals. Her journey began as an assistant professor, but her curiosity and drive for innovation led her to transition into instructional design during lockdown. In the last 4 years, she authored a book on Instructional Design Unleashed and is currently researching adaptive learning and generative AI in the field. Join me as I sit down with Ankita to uncover the secrets of her book and know how has her journey been as an instructional designer. We will also get to know about her upcoming book and the new instructional design model. So grab up your cup of coffee, settle in, and let's dive into this fascinating conversation as you are going to know a lot of stuff. Hello Ankita. Thank you so much for joining me this episode of Mindful Conversation series, which is my podcast. It's really a pleasure to have you in this episode today.
Yeah, hi. Thank you, Anuj, for inviting me to the show. And I'm looking forward to have a great conversation with you. And hello, listeners. I am Ankita Mangtani, and I have successfully transitioned into in learning and development domain from teaching. And today, I am a well-established author and an IT expert in leveraging generative AI for learning analytics for personalized learning and need analysis.
Okay. So yeah, thank you, Ankita, for that good intro. I hope my listeners they will really gain a lot much from your from this podcast today. Okay, so Ankita, to begin with, I think you published your book called Instructional Design Unleashed. So we wanted to know what really inspired you to write this book. Yeah.
Okay, Anush, thank you for asking this question. Actually, I always had this urge to learn more, and I always crave for new knowledge since my childhood. And I used to read a lot in my school, and we used to have a dedicated period for library in which we all students were initially forced to read, but I never knew that it would inspire me to become an author one day. And maybe it was in my subconscious mind. And, that's a funny thing or a funny story. I have actually prepared a kind of a bucket list, a written bucket list in my college days, like whatever I want to do or want to achieve in my life. And becoming an author is one of them. And fast forward to today, when I stepped into this field of instructional design, I found there was no single place where I could find all the information that I needed for a successful transition.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah, so it was kind of all over the place in various formats like webinars and
Hmm.
coaching and whatnot. But none of them could satisfy that hunger to become a master in my field. So, while
Okay.
studying this about, instructional design, the principles, the methodologies, and what are the things that an
Right.
instructional designer do. So, I prepared some notes or anecdotes. And, as
Hmm.
a part of my transformation journey, one day I realized, why not to compile this thing in a format and provide to the other ones who are just like me and wandering here and there to learn about this field. And I never
Right.
thought that it would take a form of a book, and I started writing and researching
Hmm.
more about my anecdotes that I have prepared. And
Mm.
and I thought to reach out to the publishers. And luckily, when I sent a proposal to the press publisher, which is a current publisher of my book, and they agreed on the first attempt, and I had a call with the chief
Mm.
editor about the process, and just signed a contract within in within 10 days. So now the book is available on various platforms to purchase. Yeah,
Okay.
so this was the journey.
Hmm. Okay. It sounds really interesting. So, what is the biggest takeaway that my listeners they would want to take away from this book? Yeah,
Okay.
if you could just highlight those. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, Anuj. So I would say that the book is for all the people, and it's divided into two parts, which talk about science of the instructional design and the art of instructional design, and which
Mm-hmm.
actually would guide the one who's reading the book through the whole process of developing a course from ideation
Okay.
and conception of
Mm-hmm.
these lessons to finally uploading into the LMS. So it is a kind of a journey, right? So like how do we
Mm-hmm.
ideate, how do we conceptualize
Right.
everything, what are the principles, approaches, or
Mm-hmm.
pedagogical approaches that go behind while creating a course, right? And then
Right.
finally uploading it
Okay.
to the LMS and making available to the user. So that is a kind of whole journey for a course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
Okay.
one more
Okay.
thing that I would like
Mm-hmm.
to add here is, so this book can also be used by the research scholars in the education domain, like if they are pursuing B.Ed or M.Ed, or if they are pursuing Ed.D or PhD in education. So this book
Mm-hmm.
can also be referred by those candidates.
Okay, sounds really great. So I look forward to reading that book. Yeah, but having said that, in your intro, you mentioned that you started with assistant professor. You worked on as an assistant professor.
Mm-hmm.
That's really very interesting. So going with that, could you share your journey as an instructional designer? How it has been? Uh, I mean, you mentioned that you worked as an assistant professor. So did that in a way help you? How did you get started with this instructional design? And uh, I mean, what did you face any kind of challenges
Mm-hmm.
while facing it? And why instructional design? I mean, if you have to sum that up, yeah.
Okay, so well, this question has been asked to me 1,000 times so far. But to
Mm-hmm.
answer this,
Mm-hmm.
I have started, the transition which I'm talking about. So yes, as being an assistant professor definitely helped me a lot because I'm already from the education background and I know how to,
Right.
teach these students, but
Mm-hmm.
about my subject only. So I was not aware that,
Mm-hmm.
being an instructional designer, I may encounter different subjects in different domains and I will be creating courses for the
Mm-hmm.
different audiences and
Right.
for the different groups
Okay.
and for the different countries even. So,
Hmm.
to start about this thing, so I've started reading about instructional design through Google search and I found some, books to get started with. Then one of my
Mm-hmm.
colleagues told me about the LinkedIn learning platform, and she said that it's a
Mm-hmm.
very good platform. You should go there, and if you want to upskill yourself in this domain, so that will really help you. So I thought to give it a try,
Mm-hmm.
and there are so many learning paths that you can take for IDs on LinkedIn Learning, and I literally took all of them to become master, and I
Mm-hmm.
just build a strong foundation, the core foundation of the subject. And then while taking
Right.
these courses, I started applying to the different companies for IDs. So there is one catch
Mm-hmm.
here. So, whenever you apply for an ID position, so most of the companies ask you to do certain assignments. And those
Right.
assignments are basically for testing your skills as an instructional designer. So I thought, what else could
Mm-hmm.
be the better way to apply what I'm learning and
Mm-hmm.
to get the feedback on that. So I started doing endless assignments that time and I got rejected so many times, and I was not even aware
Mm-hmm.
of my feedback because if you are applying for a company and then you are doing some assignments for them, they are not going to give you the 360-degree feedback of what went wrong, what
Right.
is good. So
Right.
it's like that for me. So however, I never gave up and continued to apply to various companies for the same role. And
Mhm.
actually these rejections kind of helped me to refine my ID skills that I have today. And
Mhm.
now I am successfully applying all my learning in my day-to-day work as an
Okay.
instructional designer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay, sure. Thank you, thank you for that answer. I think that that would sum it all basically for all those people who want to get started. I mean, I want to tell my background. I started way back in 2001, actually. Well, actually, I would call myself as an accidental instructional designer. I was
Okay.
not into instructional design itself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was into a different field altogether, but it just happened that I moved into this field. But having said that, I've moved on throughout the journey. I'm really enjoying this part. So yeah. So having said that, I mean, it's going ahead in this interview basically. So I just wanted to know, do you feel that? I mean, or rather, I know that there are a lot of ID models
Mm-hmm.
that we have in instructional design. So, do you think that they have some biggest limitations in the current models, and how do these gaps impact learning outcomes, basically in corporate or academic settings? Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Anuj, for asking this. So we have been taught, as an instructional designer, to implement ID models in
Hmm.
our work, and there is a whole literature
Hmm.
around that. And but I feel it
Right.
like it's a very unfortunate thing that most of the instructional designers do not use any of these
Hmm.
models in their work. They just
Hmm.
start,
Right.
creating the courses and create a
Hmm.
content dump in a form of a
Right.
storyboard. That's it.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
instructional design models, while they are actually a foundational in structuring effective learning experience, they also have
Right.
several limitations that can hinder
Right.
the optimal learning outcomes in corporate and academic settings. So,
Right.
these
Okay.
gaps can impact. So, there will be several impacts if the learning experience is not structured properly. So, it will not engage the learner. It will not improve the knowledge retention and the overall effectiveness of whatever you have built in a form of a training or an education program. So, it will be lost. Okay. So,
Hmm.
what do I think is the limitations of these models is the lack of agility and adaptability, because the traditional ID models like ADDIE, they follow a linear and structured approaches. Okay. And
Okay.
they are not maybe flexible enough to accommodate the rapid content updates or evolving learner needs.
Hmm.
So that is
Right.
one issue.
Okay.
And one more thing that I feel is an issue is limited focus on personalization and adaptive learning. So many ID models assume a one size fits all approach, which is, a kind of a traditional learning system, and it doesn't encounter the different learning styles or skill levels or the preferences, I would say, that learner can have. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, but do you feel that there are any outdated ID principles that should be reconsidered or maybe discarded altogether? I mean, I believe there must be
Mm-hmm.
some of these. You mentioned that uh, they have a lot of ID model, but most of it IDs they don't even use it.
Mm-hmm.
So having said that, do you think it's time that we transform the ID model space basically, and discard, maybe, or not use the term discard, maybe just customize it basically based on the
Mm-hmm.
current scenario. Yeah, what's your take on it?
Okay, so this is actually a controversial question. So, but to answer this, yes,
Mm-hmm.
I feel the several outdated instructional design models that should be reconsidered because of today's fast-paced and technological-driven learning environments. So
Right, right.
because they have laid a very strong foundation for an instructional designers and for the course, but they often they are now actually failing to align with the modern learning science or engagement strategies. So what would I say, the strict and the linear approach. So we should definitely think about this thing and reconsider ADDIE model to adapt into the new solutions, and we can more focus towards this agile learning design. And I would say, rather than creating a content centric experience, we should aim for creating a experience centric design. So many models they do not focus on content delivery. Okay. uh,
Mm-hmm.
so that's why I would say a simple structuring information which will be effective and doesn't guarantee a kind of a active learning or engagement. So that is one
Mm-hmm.
more thing that I would say. And we can more focus towards the simulation based or scenario based or social learning kind of thing. And we are actually
Mm-hmm.
the third point I would say, we are actually relying too much on Bloom's taxonomy. So Bloom's taxonomy, it's a kind of a useful structure to structure the
Mm-hmm.
objectives, but it is too hierarchical and rigid. Means if you go at
Okay.
the one level, then
Mm-hmm.
go to the second, and then the last level, which is apply. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say we can, think about modern alternatives like Fink's taxonomy of significant learning, which will integrate the real world application, reflection, and motivation.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and we can also think about the formal assessments. So that is a kind of outdated
Mm-hmm.
thing now, like multiple choice questions, simple set of quiz.
Mm-hmm.
So which is actually not always effective indicator of real learning, and we can focus more towards the competency based assessments. So
Okay.
yeah, I think these are
Mm-hmm.
the few things that we need to reconsider as per the new advancements in this field.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, in your view, I mean, is there a need to develop a new instructional design model, or maybe, rather, are you working on something similar? That can you just give a sneak peek of, uh,
Mm-hmm.
if you're working on that model or something, if you have created that, so how does that model make it unique? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, yes, I'm currently working on its implementation. So, I think, with the modern advancement, we may need a new instructional design model. And
Mm-hmm.
I have done with the kind of a basic research on that, and now I'm trying to implement it in various scenarios and gathering the results to validate it. So this
Okay.
model is called as scale ID model. So scale actually is an
Mm-hmm.
acronym for structure, connect, amplify, leverage, and expand. So this
Okay.
model is basically inspired by the Fibonacci sequence. I think you have heard of
Okay.
this Fibonacci sequence in
Right.
mathematics.
Yes, 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 yes,
So,
yes.
yeah, it's based on that, and it comes from the need to address the limitations of the traditional instructional design models. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, I'm trying to, accommodate this thing into this personalized and experience driven learning experience. So just like, Fibonacci starts with the small values. So I'm saying that,
Right.
learning begins with the small and simple steps, and then we can focus on essential objectives. And then as the number increases, naturally in this progression, we can expand our learning content based on the real time learner feedback and data. And we can use adaptive learning technology here to personalize these experiences. So, yeah, this is
Okay.
the sneak peek of the model that I'm working on right now.
So, do you think that this model will address the gaps of the traditional form of learning or traditional approach towards the learning?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, what practical strategies or frameworks,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I mean, from the book and ID professional start applying immediately? Yeah.
Okay, so right now it's in the implementation phase, and right now I'm seeing the potential in it to fill the gaps. Like it will be firstly a personalized solution or personalized approach to create the learning experiences, and it will, also be a kind of a experience-driven
Mm-hmm.
learning, and data-driven
Okay.
optimization will be there as we will be using the data from the LMSs
Mm-hmm.
over here to
Right.
analyze it and then
Mm-hmm.
provide the correct intervention at the correct time in the learner's journey.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And what are the practical tips that I would say here is, like, we will just start small. So there will be, two context to it. So in terms of, let's say, the concepts that we will be teaching and the format in which we will be teaching. So let's say if there is I will say learning objective one. Okay, and that learning objective one should be delivered in a kind of a 1 minute video or something like that, and then build upon that
Mm-hmm.
learning objective. The content will, amplify as per the need, and then we can deliver a kind of a 2 to 3 minutes kind of a scenario based learning solution or something like that, and then we can build upon it further, and then we can deliver it in a form of a 5 minutes kind of a simulation or role play kind of thing. So this is how we will be incorporating this Fibonacci sequence. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I think
Yeah.
learners will be more engaged with this because they will be seeing a kind of a progression over here. Okay, so I have solved this one.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's go to the next module or next learning
Mm-hmm.
objective or whatever it is. So yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, so this goes without saying. So, this will be your second book after your first book published, The Instructional Design
Yes.
Unleashed. So, this will be your first second book, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm actually working on it, and I'm
Okay.
actually connecting with the publisher. So
Mm-hmm.
right now I'm in the conversation with one
Mm-hmm.
publisher. So let's see how it goes.
Okay. Okay. Any particular date when you are when it's expected to be out?
I
Do you want
think
to disclose that, or it's still in the cards?
so. It
Is it
totally
still in the
depends
cards? Yeah.
because I am right now in the implementation phase. Let's see what are the results
Mm-hmm.
first, and then if
Okay.
those results are ready by the mid of this year, then I think by the end of this year I'll be able to publish this thing, collating all the information and the
Okay.
research that I'm doing on this.
Okay, that's really great. So I think it we will be looking forward to read another book of yours. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, so coming back to my the question on the instructional design aspect, basically. So, uh, uh, do you think that the instructional designer face any challenges, or maybe rather, what challenges do instructional designer face today? Uh, Maybe that weren't as relevant a decade ago,
Mm-hmm.
because you see that the technology has advanced
Yeah.
quite a lot. Today we have AI and stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think? I mean, instructional designer really face those uh, challenges? Yeah, and what are those according to you?
Okay. So ID or L&D, I would say learning and development is undergoing a massive transformation, and we are
Mm,
actually shifting
right.
from the rigid and content heavy models or approaches
Right.
and we are
Mm-hmm.
moving towards the personalized or AI driven or experience based learning
Mm-hmm.
ecosystem, I would say. So the future of
Right.
IDs will be more faster, and they will be more
Mm-hmm.
adaptive and deeply integrated with the new technologies that are coming up. For example, generative AI, and with the pace that we are witnessing, the evolution of generative AI is it's kind of we never anticipated that thing. Okay, so with
Right.
the
Okay.
pace, we also, as an instructional designer, keep up the pace and implement all these things or all these opportunities where we can integrate all these solutions to create adaptive learning. I would definitely like I'm actually focusing on adaptive learning solution because with the help of AI, it's a kind of a new thing that
Mm-hmm.
is kind of a quickly possible for us to create adaptive learning solutions. So that is one
Right.
thing. And I would say gamification and immersive learning in the form of AR or
Hmm.
VR because, when we look
Right.
back,
Okay.
so we had this thing. Okay, how do we create the gamification solution? And they will be like more. Most of the time, these solutions were like costly to create. Now, with the help of AI,
Mm-hmm.
we can do that thing instantly, and we can provide the approaches or solution in no
Mm.
time. So that is these are the things that I would say will be the mainstream, and we need to adapt as per the pace to
Right.
be in the
Right.
game
Exactly.
actually.
True. 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 Yes. So, with that, I think, how do you see the future of instructional designer,
Mm-hmm.
or rather, instructional designing, if evolving, and for that matter, also in the future of the role of instructional designer? That because that is very important. Do you see uh, instructional designer? Uh, I mean, this question I am asking because I have seen instructional design transformed
Mm-hmm.
from the role of instructional design to being a learning experience design, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you feel? I mean, how do you see the future of instructional design? Going forward, maybe 5 years, 10 years down the line, is it evolving, or what is
Mm-hmm.
the kind of role you see the instructional designer will play in the industry? Yeah.
Okay, so this is kind of a challenging question. So yeah, with the help
Mm-hmm.
of this generative AI, and I would say like
Mm-hmm.
there are new instructional designers or new skills that we should focus on. It should be kind of
Mm-hmm.
a experience design rather than content creation. So the real power of instructional design lies in crafting, engaging, and problem solving in transformative learning
Right.
journeys, I would say. So,
Yes.
how do you stand out in this new era? So, I would say, keep applying or keep learning new things or new technologies that you can integrate in your learning approaches, first of all. And
Mm-hmm.
then I
Right.
would say, uh, like keep learning, keep evolving, and learn by doing, I would say, and think
Mm-hmm.
like UX designer first, and then prioritize learner experiences, the accessibility over just delivering the content. And you should also focus on this analytics part. You can get this analytics and help the learners in their journey as per their needs. So yeah, like
Mm-hmm. Right.
how you can
Mm-hmm.
integrate AI at the various levels of course creation is totally up to you. It's up to your skill
Mm-hmm.
set, like how you will be applying it to get more out of it. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that is the thing.
Right. Okay. Hmm. Okay. And now, one question I wanted to ask is that you mentioned that you are a founder of a instructional design community. So,
Mm-hmm,
I see there are a lot of communities in ID and in instructional design,
mm-hmm,
and in every field for that matter. I'm also part of few technical writing communities as well, which are there, and which are doing a good job basically. And then again, there are few forums, few on WhatsApp. I've seen a lot of instructional design
mm-hmm,
communities. I'm part of it.
mm-hmm.
So, do you think having these communities is really very good uh, for instructional designers? Will it help? And uh, what role it will play. uh, I mean, do you think that there is a need to have these communities basically to,
Mm-hmm.
because what I feel is that we IDs normally work in silos.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think these communities will really help in kind of making all these instructional designers to collaborate, maybe conduct some kind of webinars and meetups and stuff like that? Yeah.
So I would definitely say yes to this because I am also running a
Mm-hmm.
community on LinkedIn, which is known as
Mm-hmm.
Instructional Designers Hub. So basically,
Mm-hmm.
that community will help you to know, okay, what's going on, what is the trend,
Mm-hmm.
and how,
Mm-hmm.
um, different set of people or different set of countries, I would say, are implementing the same feature in a different way. So that is kind
Mm-hmm.
of a really helpful for you to learn from them because
Right.
we humans tends to learn from other people or similar or the people with the similar mindsets. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say being a part of community will really help you to learn more and grow your network, and
Mm-hmm.
it will open new opportunities for you. So
Right.
yeah,
Yes,
because that
exactly.
helped me a lot.
True.
So that's why.
True. Yes. Yep. Okay. So, last but not the least, I wanted to ask, what is one piece of advice you want to give
Mm-hmm.
to to anyone who want to enter this field of instructional design? I mean, to the aspiring instructional designer,
Mm-hmm.
basically. Yeah.
So I would say think beyond the courses and design learning
Mm-hmm.
experience. Do not focus on content only because there will be so many things that will be coming up. So let's say one client will come up and say, okay, I need to convert this 60-minute lecture into a kind of a 10-minute micro learning solution. So you cannot fit all the content into it, right? So I would say, just focus on the learning experience that you will be giving to the learner, and do not hesitate to put forward your approaches, your learning solutions, or your styles, because every mind will think differently and there is no right
Mm-hmm.
solution to it. So
Right.
that's
Mm-hmm.
the one piece of advice. And I would really request all the instructional designers or UX designers out there, just build your own portfolio and put something there so that you can showcase it to different people. They will get the
Mm-hmm.
insights, okay, how you can use these tools or what are your strengths or how you will be implementing all these things. So some samples from your work which is kind of built by you. And yeah, so because in India I felt like there is no knowledge on it, first thing, and second thing, they are not even you know will take the effort to put it together and then in a presentable format that they can share with the others. So that is
Right.
also
Mm-hmm.
one thing that I would say, or I will request to your listeners to go ahead and build your own portfolio. That will really help you a lot in this field.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. And to add that, I would also would try to add networking. I think that is very, very important in specifically in today's environment that we are in these days, where the job market, it's really very difficult to capture
Mm-hmm.
one particular job. And having said that, there's so much of competition, so I think networking is really important.
Important, yeah.
Networking is also
Mm.
very important, right? Yes. Okay, Angita, so thank you so much for taking time out to come for this conversation. It was lovely talking to you. Thank you once again for coming
Thank
to
you.
this episode,
Mhm.
and I'm sure my listeners, they will really enjoy listening to this conversation.
Yeah, I hope so. And thank you for having me on this show. And I really had a fun with you. And yeah,
Thank you so much. Yeah, bye bye.
bye.
And that brings us to the end of this insightful episode of my series, Mindful Conversation series on my podcast, The Anuj Kapoor Talk Show. A huge thank you for our guest, Ankita Mangtani for sharing such fascinating insights about her book, her journey as an instructional designer, and also giving a sneak peek about the new model and her new book. If today's conversation really resonated with you, don't forget to grab a copy of Instructional Design Unleashed and also connect with her on LinkedIn. And as always, if you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platforms. Let's keep the conversation going. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, and let me know your thoughts on today's discussion. Until next time, stay mindful and inspired. This is Anuj Kapoor signing off. See you in the next episode.